What if I told you that people who live more simply are proven to be happier and less anxious? Have you ever noticed how our society teaches us that more stuff equals more happiness? But in practice, the opposite is true. Today you'll discover why Japanese minimalism is transforming millions of lives around the world. This ancient philosophy has 10 fundamental rules that can completely revolutionize your way of living. If you continue to accumulate objects without purpose, you could spend your entire life feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and perpetually dissatisfied. But if you apply these ancient practices, you'll discover a lightness and peace you may not have felt in years. Prepare to understand how living with less can be the secret to having much more. Are you ready for this transformation that goes far beyond organizing your home? Tip 1. Keep only what brings you true joy. You know that feeling of looking at your home and feeling heavy, even without knowing exactly why? This happens because we're surrounded by objects that don't connect us with anything positive. Most people keep things out of fear, obligation, or simply habit. But every object that doesn't bring you happiness is like an invisible weight you carry every day. Let's do a very simple exercise that can change your perspective forever. Grab any object that's on your desk right now. It could be a pen, a picture frame, an ornament, anything. Hold it in your hands and close your eyes for a few seconds. What sensation does it evoke in you? Joy, indifference, irritation, nostalgia? Be completely honest with your answer. If you felt something positive, great. That object deserves to stay in your life. But if you felt indifference or anything negative, it's a clear sign that it's taking up physical and mental space without adding value. Now imagine doing this with every object in your home. Sounds like a lot of work? It's actually liberating. When you start consciously choosing what surrounds you, each object becomes special. Your home stops being a repository of random things and becomes a sanctuary for items that truly matter. You stop impulse buying because you develop clear criteria for what deserves to enter your life. The result is a more organized home, a clearer mind, and a lighter heart. You'll be surprised at how much stuff you used to keep just for the sake of it. And most importantly, you'll discover you need much less than you thought to feel complete and satisfied. Tip 2. Intentionally create empty spaces. Have you ever walked into a house and immediately felt calm, even though you couldn't explain why? It was probably a house with well-planned empty spaces. Our culture teaches us that every space needs to be filled, but this is a big mistake. Empty spaces aren't wasted space. They're spaces that allow your mind to breathe. Think of your home as a piece of music. If all the instruments played at once, without pauses, it would just be noise. The pauses, the silences, are as important as the notes. The same goes for the spaces. When every inch is occupied, your mind can't rest. I'll give you a practical idea to try today. Choose a surface in your home that's usually cluttered with stuff. It could be your kitchen table, a shelf, or even your nightstand. Remove absolutely everything from that surface and leave it completely empty for a whole week. At first, you may feel an almost irresistible urge to put something there. This is normal. We're conditioned to fill spaces, but resist this temptation. Notice how this empty space changes the energy of the room. After a few days, you'll notice that you feel calmer when you look at that space. It's as if it creates a visual resting point for your eyes and mind. You'll notice that the space becomes more elegant, sophisticated, and harmonious. And most interestingly, people who visit your home will comment on how this space has a positive energy, even if they can't explain exactly what changed. Tip 3. Practice gratitude for objects before getting rid of them. One of the biggest challenges people face when trying to live with less is guilt. Guilt about getting rid of something that cost money, that was a gift, that might be useful one day. This guilt creates an emotional block that prevents any real transformation. But there's a beautiful way to resolve this. When you decide an object is no longer part of your life, don't treat it like useless trash. Take a few seconds to sincerely thank it for the service it provided. It may seem strange to talk to objects, but this practice has incredible transformative power. Let me tell you a personal story. A few years ago, I had a bicycle that I hadn't used in over 3 years. Every time I thought about selling it, I felt terrible guilt. It had been expensive, had accompanied me on important trips, and it felt wrong to part with it. Until I learned this gratitude technique. I gripped the bike handlebars and thanked them out loud. Thank you for accompanying me on so many special rides. You've brought me joy, exercise, and moments of freedom. Now you can go and brighten someone else's life. I felt an immediate sense of peace. The guilt completely disappeared. When you genuinely express gratitude, you transform the act of letting go into something positive and respectful. You're not rejecting the object. You're acknowledging that it has fulfilled its purpose in your life. This applies to clothes that no longer fit, books you won't reread, utensils you no longer use, anything. This practice goes far beyond objects. You develop a greater ability to let go of what no longer serves you in all areas of your life. Toxic relationships, harmful habits, negative thoughts. You become a freer and wiser person. If you're enjoying these transformative tips, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any new videos. And let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing these tips are reaching people all over the world. Your interaction motivates me to continue bringing content that truly makes a difference in people's lives. Tip 4. Always choose quality over quantity. Have you ever stopped to calculate how much money you've spent buying the same thing over and over again? How many pots and pans have you bought because the previous ones broke? How many shoes have you had to replace because they were uncomfortable or made of poor material? This buy cheap mentality may seem economical, but it's actually a huge waste of money and energy. Every time you buy something low quality, you're making a bad deal with the future. You save money now to spend much more later. Besides the money, you waste time researching substitutes, energy getting frustrated with products that don't work well, and space storing things that don't satisfy you. Let me give you a practical example that changed my life. For years, I bought cheap pans that broke quickly. Whenever one broke, I'd run to the store and buy another similar one until I decided to invest in a higher quality pan. It cost 5 times more than the cheap ones, but that was 8 years ago and it's still in perfect condition. When you choose quality, you automatically buy less. Your home becomes less cluttered but infinitely more functional. You develop refined taste and learn to value excellence over quantity. Every object in your home becomes a source of pleasure rather than a source of worry. This doesn't mean you have to buy only expensive items. It means researching thoroughly before purchasing, reading reviews, investing in reliable brands, and choosing durable materials. Sometimes, a mid-range product costs only a little more than a low-end one, but lasts 5 times longer. The psychological benefits are surprising. When you use quality objects, you feel more confident, more organized, and more satisfied. Your self-esteem improves because you surround yourself with things that actually work well. And best of all, you save a lot of money in the long run. Tip 5. Establish a specific place for each object. Have you ever wasted time looking for something you knew you had at home but couldn't find? Have you ever been late because you couldn't find your car keys? Have you ever bought something you later discovered you already had, but it was forgotten in the back of a drawer? This happens because most people don't have a clear organization system. The biggest secret to lasting organization isn't having few objects, it's having a specific place for each object. When something doesn't have a fixed address, it becomes a nomad, wandering around the house, creating clutter wherever it goes. You never know where to find it when you need it. Let's start with something simple you can implement today. Choose an object you use daily, and that's always in different places. It could be your TV remote, your cell phone charger, your glasses, anything. Now choose a specific place where this object will always be when not in use. The secret is that it should always be the same place, not 2 or 3 possible places. When you're done using the object, you should return it exactly to that place. At first you might forget a few times, but after a few weeks it becomes automatic. Now imagine expanding this concept to every object in your home. Every medicine has its own place in the cupboard. Every document has its own folder. Every tool has its own corner in the box. When you take something, you already know exactly where to return it. The result is a home that stays organized effortlessly. You stop wasting mental energy trying to remember where you put things. You stop wasting time looking for lost objects. You stop feeling frustrated by the clutter that seems to magically form. Tip 6. Practice digital detachment regularly. How many apps are installed on your phone? How many do you actually use? How many photos do you have saved? How many of them do you actually look at occasionally? Just as we accumulate unnecessary physical objects, we also accumulate an absurd amount of digital clutter that weighs on our minds more than we realize. Every app you don't use is like an object taking up unnecessary space in your home. Every duplicate or blurry photo is like old paper cluttering your drawers. Every unnecessary notification is like someone interrupting your concentration every few minutes. I'm going to give you a very simple challenge. Grab your phone right now and go to the home screen. Look at each app and ask yourself honestly, when was the last time I used this? If the answer is more than 2 weeks ago, delete it without mercy. You can always reinstall it later if you really need to. Now let's move on to your photos. You probably have hundreds of virtually identical photos, blurry photos, old screenshots that are no longer useful. Set aside an hour on the weekend to do this cleanup. Keep only the photos that truly represent special moments or that you truly enjoy looking at. Configure your notifications to only receive truly important alerts. You don't need to be notified every time someone posts something on social media, every time promotional emails arrive, or every time a game wants your attention. Every unnecessary notification fragments your attention and increases your anxiety. After this digital cleanse, you'll feel lighter, more focused, and less anxious. Your devices will work better, and you'll have a healthier relationship with technology. You'll use it as a tool instead of being used by it. Tip 7. Cultivate cleaning and organizing rituals. The difference between people who keep their homes organized and those who live in a mess isn't the amount of time they dedicate to cleaning. It's how they view the activity. Most people see cleaning as a tedious task that needs to be done quickly. But there's a much more enjoyable and effective way to take care of your home. When you turn cleaning into a ritual, it stops being an obligation and becomes a moment of connection with your space. You're not just removing dirt, you're creating harmony and positive energy in the environment. Every movement is done with awareness and presence. I'll teach you how to create your first cleaning ritual. Choose a time of day that's just for you, whether it's right after waking up or before bed. Start with just 10 minutes. Put on some music you like or simply enjoy the silence. Choose a small area of the house, like the kitchen sink or your desk. Remove all objects from this area carefully, as if each one were precious. Clean the surface slowly, paying attention to the movement of your hands, the texture of the material, and the result of your work. Feel the satisfaction of seeing everything clean and shiny. Return each object to its designated place, arranging everything harmoniously. Notice how you feel after this ritual. You'll likely feel calmer, more centered, and more satisfied. It's as if you've meditated while taking care of your home. Gradually, you can expand this ritual to other areas or create specific rituals for different times of the day. The benefits go far beyond a clean home. You develop a more loving relationship with your space, feel more grateful for what you have, and find moments of peace in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. And your home stays organized because maintenance becomes a pleasure. Tip 8. Simplify your daily routine as much as possible. Have you ever stopped to count how many decisions you make in a day? From the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, your mind is constantly choosing between options: what to wear, what to eat, which route to take, which tasks to do first. These micro decisions may seem insignificant, but together they consume a huge amount of mental energy. Great leaders discovered long ago that the key to having energy for important decisions is to eliminate unnecessary ones. That's why many wear practically the same style of clothing every day. It's not for lack of options, it's to conserve mental energy for more important matters. I'll give you some practical ideas to simplify your routine. First, create a small uniform of clothes you really like and that go together. This way, you don't have to think too much about what to wear each day. Choose versatile pieces that work in different situations. Simplify your meals too. Have a basic menu of healthy breakfasts, lunches, and dinners that you enjoy. You don't have to eat the same thing every day, but having preset options eliminates the need to decide what to eat at each meal. Organize your tasks into blocks. Instead of doing a little of each thing throughout the day, group similar activities together. Respond to all emails at a specific time. Make all important connections at once. Organize all paperwork in a single session. Create fixed routines for your most important activities. Have set times to wake up, exercise, and work on your priorities. When something becomes routine, you stop wasting energy deciding when and how to do it. The result is a more fluid and less stressful life. You have more energy for the things that really matter and feel more in control of your life. Before moving on to the next tip, I want to tell you about something special I've prepared for those who want to go beyond this video. It's a complete guide with organization secrets that completely transformed my home and can transform yours too. The link is in the pinned comment, and for a limited time, I'm offering a special discount for channel subscribers. Now, let's move on to the next tips, which are some of my favorites. Tip 9. Value experiences more than objects. I'm going to ask you a question that could change your perspective on money and happiness. Think about the last 5 years of your life. What were the 5 moments that brought you the most joy? Most of them are probably experiences, a special trip, a personal achievement, a moment with loved ones, something new you learned. Now think about the objects you've purchased in those same 5 years. How many of them still evoke the same emotion as when you first bought them? How many do you even remember you have? The difference is striking, isn't it? This happens because our brains are programmed to adapt quickly to objects, but experiences become more valuable over time. When you buy something, the initial happiness is intense, but it quickly fades. You get used to the object and it stops bringing you pleasure. Experiences, on the other hand, generate memories that become part of your identity and continue to bring you joy even decades later. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you have 1,000 reais to spend. You could buy a new outfit, an electronic gadget, or a household item. Or you could use that money for an experience. Of course, you've always wanted to take a weekend trip or classes in something you're interested in. The clothes will go out of style. The gadget will become obsolete. The object will become part of the decor you no longer notice. But the experience will become a story you enjoy telling, a knowledge no one can take away from you, a memory that warms your heart. Start redirecting your investments. Before you buy something, ask yourself, could I use this money for a special experience? Instead of accumulating more objects, accumulate moments, knowledge, skills, and memories. These are the only riches that truly matter. Tip 10. Practice constant maintenance instead of dramatic reorganization. Do you know people who do those massive weekend cleanses, feel great for a few days, but after 2 weeks, everything goes back to chaos? This happens because they focus on dramatic changes instead of consistent maintenance. It's like trying to get in shape by working out intensely only once a month. True transformation comes from consistency in small daily actions. You already do this naturally in other areas of your life. Brush your teeth every day instead of waiting a month for a deep cleaning. Shower regularly instead of waiting until you get really dirty. The same principle works for organization. I'll teach you a simple system that will keep your home organized. Set 3 5-minute maintenance times a day. This could be when you wake up, before lunch, or before bed. In these 5 minutes, you'll do a quick sweep and fix anything that's out of place. Put away used and forgotten items, discard unnecessary papers, and organize cluttered surfaces. 5 minutes is enough time to keep everything in order, but it's not enough time to feel overwhelmed. In addition to daily maintenance, dedicate 30 minutes a week to a more thorough review. Organize drawers, clean surfaces, and assess whether there are any objects that are no longer useful. Once a month, set aside an hour to adjust your organization system if necessary. The important thing is that this maintenance is consistent and gentle, never dramatic and overwhelming. When you practice this, your home will self-regulate. You'll never again have to spend entire weekends reorganizing everything. You'll never again feel overwhelmed by clutter. Your home becomes a reflection of your mind, calm, organized, and harmonious. You always feel in control, never overwhelmed, and with more energy for the things that truly matter in life. We've reached the end of this transformative journey through the 10 rules of Japanese minimalism. Each of these practices has the power to revolutionize your life, but together they create a complete transformation. You've learned to keep only what brings you joy, to create empty spaces that calm the mind, to practice gratitude when letting go of objects, to choose quality over quantity, to give each item a specific place, to practice digital detachment, to transform cleaning into a ritual, to simplify your routine, to value experiences over objects, and to maintain everything through small, consistent actions. These aren't just organizational tips, they're life principles that will help you find more peace, clarity, and satisfaction in your daily life. Remember, the journey of minimalism isn't about deprivation, it's about freedom. Freedom from excess, freedom from clutter, freedom from the anxiety that comes from unnecessary accumulation. When you live with less, you live with more intensity, more purpose, and more joy. Now I want to challenge you. Choose one of these 10 rules and start applying it today. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. Small daily changes create big transformations over time. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's the perfect time to do so and turn on notifications. I'm always bringing you content that can transform your life for the better. And tell me in the comments, which of these 10 rules caught your attention the most? Which one do you plan to start applying first? Your experience may inspire others on the same transformation journey.